of Northern Michigan during one perfect week in July. You rent the Airbnb, spend 5 days on the boat, and you eat your weight in hot dogs and brats. And you think, wow, we could live here forever. But what happens when November hits, the tourists leave, the sky turns gray for 5 months, and you realize the nearest target's a 45-minute drive on an icy highway? So today, we're taking off the rose-colored glasses, giving you the harsh, unfiltered truth about living in Northern Michigan year-round. We're going to cover the incredible highs, frustrating lows, the freezing cold, and the massive mistakes that buyers make when they try to purchase a home up here without knowing the reality of the terrain. My name's Troy Game, your local Northern Michigan real estate agent, and I help people figure out if up north is actually the right move for them or if they're just better off visiting. Let us start with the elephant in the room, the summer tourist takeover. So if you're moving here from a quiet suburb or a predictable city, you need to understand that from Memorial Day to Labor Day, our population doesn't just increase, it absolutely explodes. The sleepy little towns you fell in love with in October turn into a bumper-to-bumper parade of out-of-state license plates. Try to drive down US 31 in July, it's like an extreme sport. Going out to grab a quick dinner on a Friday night, good luck. You're looking at a 2-hour wait at places that are completely empty in February. Even running to the grocery store becomes a strategic military operation because the shelves get wiped out by weekenders stocking up their lake houses. But here's the silver lining, and it is the secret to surviving the summer up here. As a full-time local, you adapt. You learn the secret back roads that bypass the highway traffic. You discover the hidden, unmarked beaches where tourists don't go. And you find the dive bars and local spots that do not advertise on the travel blogs. You learn how to navigate the chaos, and honestly, the energy that the summer crowds bring is electric. It wakes the whole region up. And honestly, we put up with the traffic, the crowded restaurants, the chaos, because the summers here are completely, unequivocally unmatched. There is a reason millions of people flock here. The lake life is absolutely unbeatable, and you aren't just looking at water, you're living on it. We are talking about crystal clear Caribbean blue fresh water. There's no salt, no sharks, just perfect boating weather. So imagine clocking out of work at 5 p.m. on a Tuesday, and by 5:30, you're on the pontoon boat, paddleboarding, sitting by a bonfire on the beach. And because we are so far up north on the edge of the time zone, the sun doesn't set until nearly 10 p.m. in the peak of summer. So you essentially get a whole second day after your workday ends. That lifestyle, the smell of the pine trees, the water, the late sunsets, it makes every single second of that summer traffic completely worth it. Up here isn't a season, it's a lifestyle. And I'm not talking about a cute dusting of snow for Christmas, I'm talking lake effect snow. When that freezing wind whips off the relatively warm waters of Lake Michigan, it dumps feet of snow on us. And along with the snow comes the permacloud. We will literally go weeks without seeing the sun in the dead of winter. Now, if you're buying a house up here, this weather isn't just a lifestyle adjustment, it is a massive financial factor. And this brings me to my biggest real estate warning. You absolutely cannot skimp on your home inspections up here. So when you buy a house in Northern Michigan, you aren't just buying a floor plan, you're buying a shelter against extreme elements. So here's what out-of-town buyers miss. First of all, roof snow loads. If a house has an older roof or poor structural support, the weight of 3 feet of wet, heavy snow can cause catastrophic damage. Second, winterized foundations and pipes. If you're buying a second home or a cabin that isn't properly insulated, a bad furnace in January isn't just a chilly inconvenience. Your pipes will freeze and flood, and your house will be underwater before you even know what happened. Third, private roads. Up north, a lot of beautiful tucked away homes are on private roads. Who plows that road in February? If there is no formal road maintenance agreement in place with the neighbors, you might be snowed in for days. So you need an agent who is looking at the insulation in the crawl space, checking the age of the well and the septic systems, and thinking about how the property functions at 10 degrees below zero. Do not buy a house up here solely based on how it looks in July. But here's the beautiful secret about Northern Michigan winters. If you don't fight it, and if you actually lean in and embrace it, you will fall in love with the area all over again. When the snow flies, the tourists leave, and it gets quiet, eerily quiet, that's when the real community comes out. So if you get out there and go snowmobiling on the hundreds of miles of trails, if you try skiing, or just go to grab a beer at a local tavern in February, You will find the most tight-knit, resilient community anywhere. There's a shared camaraderie among the locals who stay here year-round. The pace of life dramatically slows down, and the area is incredibly safe with people genuinely look out for each other. You trade the big city amenities and the shopping malls for a lifestyle that is intentional, peaceful, and deeply connected to nature. Look, Northern Michigan isn't for everyone. If you need to target 10 minutes away in 70-degree weather in March, this is not the place for you. But if for the right person, there is nowhere better on earth. You get to live the life that other people save up all year for, just to vacation in for a week. So if you're thinking about making the move to Northern Michigan, or you're trying to figure out which specific town fits your vibe, or you just have questions about what it takes to buy up here safely, I want to help, all right? Click the link in the description below to book a free, no pressure, 15-minute discovery call directly with me. We can talk about your goals, the market, and if up north is your next home. So thank you for watching, and make sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will see you on the next one.